Got it? Woo! Let's talk about it, honey. What are we going to talk about with the Four of Pentacles tonight?
Okay. Why seek ye the bridegroom?
Bridegroom.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Why seek the bridegroom in the chamber when he has not yet arrived?
All right. Stop right there. Why seek ye the bridegroom in the chamber when he has not yet arrived? Why are you looking for something when it's not there? Anytime you are looking for something, it implies that it is lost. In those particular words, it's saying it's not there. Okay, go ahead.
Why has thou not prepared thyself fully in all things?
Prepared thyself. So it's saying we must prepare thyself if we're going to go in search of something.
Right.
All right? If you were going to go climb a mountain, you're going to have to take whatever supplies that you need to survive while you're on that mountain, survive, and also whatever equipment that you need to pull yourself up the terrain. All right. That's called preparation. Okay? Go ahead.
Preparation is necessarily...
Is that the next word, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Preparation is necessarily discipline is called forth, and doing what thou art told to do is in particular case is necessary.
Okay. So if you're going to go in search of something, you must prepare yourself. You just don't go out and start looking for something. First of all, you got to know what you're looking for, and you've got to accept the fact that it's lost and it's hidden. Okay? That goes together. If you're going to search for something, it automatically goes with it that it's lost. All right, we'll come back there in a minute. Now, we're talking about you are a stranger to yourself. You are a stranger to yourself. So those people who are looking for themselves have got to admit that they're lost. I'm lost. You lost?
I'm lost.
All right, let's go.
All right. Thou art taking in circles.
Thou art talking
in circles.
Say that again.
Thou art talking in circles.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Okay. Obedience is better than sacrifice.
Obedience is better than sacrifice. Okay. So what you're saying to me is for me to follow instructions is better than any kind of act that I might do in showing that I'm a very generous person. Okay? Because that's a lie.
Yeah.
I'm not a generous person because we've already decided that we're full of greed. Okay, go ahead.
Greater rewards are given because of the obedience shown.
All right.
Thou must become mindful enough to know the heart of God in every important and insignificant matter as well.
Okay, so we've got to know the heart of God in every important situation and insignificant matter as well. We've got to know the heart of God. I give up. You give up?
Yeah.
Sandy, you give up? Anybody out there? You got to know the heart of God. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Is there anybody going to say they know the heart of God?
No.
I don't think so. Go ahead.
All right.
So, learning how to prepare yourself in search of the heart of God would be a diligent practice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The one you're going to undertake? I'm not either. You going to? You know why?
Why?
Because we're lazy. We're lazy and we're indifferent and we don't give a darn. And we're filled with what?
Greed.
What?
It's jealousy, selfishness.
So if we're going to go in search of the heart of God, what are we going to go in search of the heart of God for? So we can fill our pocketbooks or our hearts or our minds thinking we're a grand person, or we're going to become more knowledgeable than the other person because we're filled with jealousy. So I want to know that I know the heart of God and you don't. Doesn't that make me special? Or I'm so selfish that I want to get all these secrets and keep them to myself and say, you know what, I've got them. Now you got to pay me for them. Okay? Stupid. Go ahead, honey. Vain. Indolent.
Thou does not even know how the wind blows.
That's true. Now that is a true statement. I got to get this down, honey, because we're learning what? We are lost. I wrote that down.
Yeah.
We're lost.
Strangers to ourselves.
And we're strangers to ourselves, and we don't know how the wind blows, right? We don't know how the wind blows. So, how are we going to know the heart of God?
We don't.
Right. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Thou does not even know how the string hair in the wind. Stars hang in the air.
Okay, where are we at?
Thou does not even know how the stars hang in the air.
That's true. Do you know how they hang in there?
No.
Okay, the greatest scientists in the world can give some explanations, but they don't know how they hang in the air. Go ahead.
If thou thinkest thou can rectify the situation, change the problem, make better the outcome, speed along the result, then thou hast not yet learned that thou art powerless yet powerful.
You're telling me I'm powerless yet I'm powerful? Well, that's because I'm a stranger to myself, and I don't have a clue as to who it is I am or what I'm doing in this strange land. And here, at this table, on this microphone, with you, reading. Do you know?
Nope.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, but if I say this, oh, but if I do that, then surely it will make a difference. Surely it will matter.
That's what you believe, ain't it, honey? You believe that, and everybody does, that if I do this or if I do that, it's going to make a difference. It's going to really make a difference because what I have to say is important. Well, it can't possibly be important because I am filled with what?
Greed, jealousy, and selfishness.
So every motive that I have is going to be geared towards making those things in myself bigger. Okay, go ahead.
Then the outcome will be beneficial for me.
That's what the bottom line is. Isn't that right, Sandy? Bridget, that is true. You as a teenager, when you do something, when you get up in the morning, you want it to benefit you, don't you?
Yeah.
If you don't, do you want to do it?
No.
Right. Okay, go ahead. Sandy's over there saying that's the Huna method. What's in it for me? Okay?
We say folly and we say folly with a capital F. Thou art fooled. Thou art a fool's fool.
Okay, stop right there. Now we're getting a little place. Since we don't know the heart of God, and we don't know which way the wind blows, and we're a stranger to ourselves, and we can never be late because we're on time, the only time there is, and we're already lost, so we wouldn't know if we were on time or not, right? Because we're in search of ourselves. And you just said that we are a fool's fool. Fool's fool. Now I want to stop just there. Hold on. Where's a fool? Let's see if we can't find that fool in this. Because he said we're a fool's fool. There it is. Sandy, can you zero in on that pretty card? That beautiful, beautiful picture in that card. We are a fool's fool. We are a stranger unto ourselves. We don't have a clue as to who it is or what it is we're doing. And the moment we think we do know what we're doing or why we're doing it, we need to cease immediately. There's a young man, and he's got a stick and a bag tied, thrown behind his back. He's got a little dog yelping at his heels, and he's got a white rose. We saw that white rose last week in the death card because I asked you if it meant anything to you, and you said it didn't mean a thing. Okay, fool's fool. But first of all, let's turn and see what this book might say about the fool. Okay? Because what are we doing? We're trying to find out a little bit about ourselves, a little bit. Okay, but we don't want to lose this page, do we? Okay, so there you go. Because we are trying to look for how come we're a stranger unto ourselves. We get up every day. We look into the mirror. I call myself Paula Andrea Pyle, and you call yourself Bridget Nicole, and she calls herself Sandy. And we've lived with ourselves a little while. You've lived with yourself 15 years. You think you know a little bit about yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
And what this is saying, you are a stranger to yourself. And what we were tying it to is that phone kept ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing, and we couldn't make a connection. Okay? We absolutely could not make a connection. That is the source. We're not making a connection to the only self that matters. And that is, wait a minute, saying it's a fool's fool, but it is that big self, the big self. Okay, not this false self that's filled with greed and looking for any kind of beneficial outcome. But let's say that we are looking for the heart of God. Okay, we're looking to connect to that heart of God that we don't have a clue as to how to do that. Now, a lot of people might say, well, you do it this way or that way. That's what they're saying. You can't say that. You can't say that. You can only experience being that connection. We kept picking it up. Were we making a connection?
No.
I don't care all of our efforts. We weren't making a connection. All right, go ahead, Bridget. What does it say?
Thou art embarking upon a journey through them thou mayest never leave thy home.
Okay, I'm going to reread that because I love that sentence, Thou art embarking upon a journey, though thou mayest never leave thy home. Well, how are we going to go on a journey, Bridget, if we ain't going to leave home?
I don't know.
It must be an inward journey, hadn't it? Must be an inward journey. Go ahead.
This journey will be one of the necessitates. That this will be one of the journeys that necessitates belief in that which is good, pure, chaste, and victorious.
Virtuous. So we better get rid of that journey.
There can be no preconceived ideas or premeditated motives allowed upon this journey of the soul's growth.
Okay, there can be no preconceived ideas or premeditated motives allowed upon this journey. Because, in going after something, we want to go after something that is good and beautiful and true and lovely. We want to go in search of those. And why do we want to go in search of those? Because we think of ourselves in that way. And we don't want to face the shadow. We don't know that there's a shadow self that we deal with every day, or we wouldn't be a stranger to ourselves. Okay, go ahead.
It is important for thee not to look backward to the past and what has transpired in thy life, but press ever forward toward the mark of perfection that thou art unconsistently striving for.
And that's a good word. You said unconsistently. That is true. A hit and a miss. And unconsciously as well, that we are striving for. We are unconsciously striving for. Whatever it is that you think that you're going after, whatever it is that you think that you must attain, is going to flee from you. Because that's the nature. That's the nature of the beast. If I'm in pursuit of something, the job of that thing is to flee from me. But if I'm still, thou art embarking upon a journey that though thou mayest never leave thy home. If I'm still and I receive that which is already here without any effort upon myself or upon my part, then I am making some sort of connection, but I don't know I am. As soon as I think that I'm making the connection, I have lost it. Boy, that sounded something, didn't it, Sandy? That really sounded like something. Okay, go ahead.
Rejoice always in those things that thou dost not understand nor comprehend at the time.
Okay, so in order to make this connection to the heart of God and become less of a stranger to ourselves, we are to rejoice. That word is rejoice. Always in those things that thou dost not understand or comprehend at the time.
Right.
So when you are in the midst of your greatest confusion or misunderstanding, that means if somebody's calling you, Bridget, and saying, well, you sure do, let me see, what could be a word? You sure do act like you're all that. Okay? I guess that's a term nowadays. You are to rejoice in that. You're not to take it personally and say, why did she say that? I'm not like that at all. I've got to prove to her that I'm not like that at all. See, immediately you start to defend, but that which she said wasn't true anyway. And whatever's not true is not going to stand. But we are to rejoice in those times of our greatest misunderstanding and our greatest, when we are at the pit of despair, at the times when the whole world is caving in on us. Just like when that phone was ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing, we could have gotten frustrated or what's another word? You got to care first, and I don't care. So you've got to muster up whatever the emotion is that goes with that, in order to. In that misunderstanding place, you're rejoicing because you don't get those times in your life that you can't explain them. We're all the time explaining. Well, this happened for that reason and that happened for the other reason. See, and when those times when you're in that place where there is no explanation, that is the time that you rejoice. And that is the time when you're making a connection. And that is the time when you are close, if you're ever going to be, to the heart of God. But you couldn't convey it if somebody asked you, was going to give you $1 million. You couldn't tell anybody how that came about because you didn't have a part in placing it there. And what did I say, Bridget?
No idea.
That's good. Go ahead.
Okay. Rejoice before is necessary or actable to rejoice.
Okay.
By the act of rejoicing, so does thy venture become increased with unexpected results of which thee could not possibly think or imagine.
Wow. So it's saying when you are the most upset, when you are crying, somebody has broken your heart into 1,000,000 pieces, Bridget, and that's going to happen. In your little young life, and as time goes on, it's going to happen. But in those times, if you could do this, boy, if you could do this, you're going to transcend the world. You won't even have any problems anyway. But if you could remember to rejoice in those times when you're so upset, then what it's saying is you're going to have, thy venture becomes increased with unexpected results of which thou could not possibly think or imagine. Because those things that are necessary for thy soul's journey will be provided, and those things that are outdated and no longer of service to thee will be discarded or left behind. In the simple act of rejoicing. That's enough for the fool. Let's go back here. All right. But we want to tie in another. We got to do some numbers though here. Let's try to, what we're doing is showing how everything is connected. Okay, I'm going to throw a number. All right, well, what do I have?
You got 8.
8? No, you throw one.
6.
6, okay.